The hero Blade and the villain Morbius are two of the most popular vampires in the Marvel Universe. Who is stronger between the two? If Morbius and Blade ever fought, who would in that fight? Although Morbius is not a typical vampire, and he even joined forces with Blade at one point, knowing Blade's skills and his determination to rid the world of vampires, we are more than certain that Blade would eventually come up with a way to defeat Morbius, especially if we consider the fact that Morbius has a lot of obvious weaknesses that Blade could eventually exploit. Speaking of Blade versus Morbius, there's still a lot to be said. Throughout the rest of this video, we will look at their powers and abilities in more detail and see how the fight between Blade and Morbius would play out.
Before we move on, this is your host Shah and you are watching Comicverse Unleashed, where I post all kinds of comic videos and shorts daily, so you definitely gotta subscribe.
Comparing the powers of Blade and Morbius. Due to an enzyme in his bloodstream that results from his mother being bitten by a vampire giving birth to him, Blade is immune to typical and supernatural vampire bites. In certain cases, he also seemed to be immune to vampire hypnosis. However, he lacked superhuman physical attributes and relied solely on his considerable skill and determination until Morbius, an atypical and scientifically created vampire, bit him and Blade became something of a vampire. Blade possesses superhuman strength, stamina, speed, agility, heightened senses, and a rapid healing factor that attacks any foreign substances, chemicals, viruses in his body and eliminates any chance that he will be left defenseless or maimed from the inside and unaffected by daylight and most other traditional vampire weaknesses. He also ages very slowly, although he is not immortal, and can supernaturally sense supernatural activity. Blade is a master of martial arts, mastering styles such as boxing, capoeira, eskrima, jeet kune do, hapkido, jujutsu, shotokan karate, kung fu, and ninjutsu. He is also a skilled swordsman, marksman, and street fighter. He is adept at using throwing knives. He is very knowledgeable about vampiric lore and the supernatural. In Dracula's Gauntlet, Blade and Deadpool are surrounded by monsters, and Blade threatens to turn into a bat and leave Deadpool there to die. He may have all of the vampire powers, but has conflicts over using those that make him appear less human. Michael Morbius underwent a transformation by electric shock treatment and chemical ingestion into a pseudo-vampire. As a pseudo-vampire, Morbius does not possess all the powers of a real vampire, nor is he subject to all of the traditional limitations and weaknesses thereof. He possesses a variety of superhuman powers, some of which are similar to supernatural vampires within the Marvel Universe, such as superhuman strength and speed, as well as heightened senses including night vision and echolocation. Due to his condition as a vampire, Morbius is forced to ingest fresh blood on a regular basis to maintain his life and vitality. The amount of blood he requires and how often he has to feed has not been specified in the comics. Additionally, Morbius does not possess any of the mystical vulnerabilities that pure vampires are subject to, such as garlic, holy water, the crucifix, or silver. Morbius has a strong aversion to sunlight though, due to his photosensitive skin that prevents any protection against large sunburns, in contrast to the real vampires who are cremated by it, so that he can move around during the day, but his powers are diminished, and he will stick to the shade if circumstances do not require him to be active during the day. He lacks shape-shifting abilities, weather control powers, and the ability to control vampires' animals. Like true vampires, Morbius possesses the ability to hypnotize beings of lesser willpower and bring them under his control, which can only be resisted by those possessing very strong will. While briefly infected by the bloodlust demon, Morbius gained the ability to liquefy his body, moving through small spaces and stretching his limbs as needed. He lost these abilities when the demon left his body. Morbius possesses an accelerated healing factor and can recover from minor to moderate injuries at a higher rate than ordinary humans. Although not as efficient as the healing powers Wolverine possesses, Morbius has been shown to heal from multiple gunshot wounds in less than an hour. More serious injuries, such as broken bones or severe burns, can take several days to heal, but it was once shown to take barely a few minutes, even though it left him a near senseless creature that must feed to replenish its energy required by the healing process. He cannot regenerate lost limbs or organs. Blade versus Morbius. Who wins? The table above has shown us that Blade and Morbius are roughly on the same level, which makes this comparison a tad more difficult, especially in light of the fact that Blade is a vampire hunter, while Morbius is a vampire. Okay, not a real one, but he's close enough. The fact that Morbius is a pseudo-vampire makes things difficult for Blade really, as he cannot apply his usual methods of eliminating his opponent. Does that mean that Morbius is stronger? Well, not really. Morbius doesn't have much to offer against Blade, and while he might stand his ground in a fight and not be killed, he doesn't really a trump card with which he could defeat Blade. Also, knowing Blade's determination and his skills, we are quite certain that he would be able to find a way how to defeat Morbius. Morbius is different from his usual opponents, but he is not that different that Blade would not be able to come up with a solution. This is why we have Blade winning this.